Hello, welcome back. This is Miniature Mike, and today I'm excited to do another tier list video revisit. And this one is going to be for Knights of the Old Republic, one of the most famous sets in the entire game. And if you haven't seen my original, I did it back in, I don't know, it was probably November 2024. So go back and check that one out. I'm really curious how my opinion on all these characters is going to have changed over the years. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. I know it's going to be a long video, so buckle up. These tend to be almost 45 minutes or more. So first things first, is we have started with Atton Rand. This character is very interesting because at first I was a little skeptical on him, but he does have some redeeming qualities. Costs 26. Kind of, I don't know, almost I think those stats are fine for a shooter, but what he's got going on here is he's got Jedi Hunter, double, and he has Cunning 20. So he has 10 damage, but in the right circumstances, he can get that to 30, not that hard, get it to 40 damage against Force users with certain circumstances, and then he's got double. Having door gimmicks kind of fun too, not bad, be able to hold doors open. And then is also technically Force sensitive. So overall, I think he's really well balanced because there's some clear weaknesses, seems a little fragile, a lot of conditions have to break your way to use all this stuff, but Cunning Act plus 20 is a pretty devastating power nonetheless. So I like this guy. I think he's very solid. I used to not like him as much, but I think I was just comparing him maybe too much to Karth, who has some sort of similarity things going on here, but is ultimately quite a bit different. So for that, I still want to put him in B tier. I put him in B tier before. I think that's just fine. Can have high potential, but then also a lot of conditions, and also can get knocked out if you're not careful. Next one up, we got Bao-Dur, one of my personal favorites, just because I've always been a sucker for droids and things like that. A very good character, in my opinion, when it comes to, has one of the best repairs in the game. So it does cost a lot, 33. Very tanky though, which is nice at the 90 HP. You can do some nice melee stuff with Demolish, Destabilizing Shields, Mighty Swing. It seems like this guy was designed to destroy Sith assault droids, basically. I mean, he can blast the heck out of them, and also get around damage reduction, but that's not going to happen too often. And then the best part about this guy, twin attack's good, but repair 30 is really powerful. I think he would be a little bit better, though, looking back. If he had something like Gunner plus 10 or something, could be a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, having repair 30, he's the second, only two characters I think have repair 30. So I've always enjoyed mixing him with my X1 Viper droids to give a lot of just extra oomph to the repairing. However, all that being said, I think he does cost maybe a hair more than maybe he should. Still a very solid character. I would still put him in B tier, but I think he would wind up low B tier, like probably the very bottom of B tier. Yeah, that's probably what I ended up doing. Where did I put him originally? I think I put him in B tier originally. So I've always really enjoyed this character. So I put him in C tier when I did this thing a while ago. I don't know. I think B tier is fine. I think Atton Rand is a very high B tier, high B tier character. Maybe low A tier, but definitely high B tier. I think Bao-Dur is definitely top of C tier, but maybe not. I'm gonna start with the very bottom of B tier and see how this shakes out. So maybe I'll drop him to C, but I'm a little biased towards him. I just love repair 30 so much, but we'll see. Okay, Karth. This guy sucks. So it costs a ton, similar stats to Atton Rand, but the problem is this. So you got a lot of things. You can do Deadeye, great, if you don't move. Double and Twin. So you do have the opportunity to do 40 damage, but your attack is terrible and doesn't get better, whereas Atton Rand does. And gosh, it's just rough. The thing I do like is you do have intuition, so that's always good. You can kind of move into a good spot, stand put, and shoot. But your attack needs modifying. You're not going to hit anything with this character unless you don't modify the attack. For that reason, I think costs way too much for all this. Having such poor attack with all of... I'm just not a fan of this guy at all. If he had deadly attack, that could be kind of fun because he has he has the quantity of attacks necessary to make that really nice. But at the end of the day, I think Karth Onasi is pretty lame. I'm going to probably drop him maybe in D tier. Man, this guy bothers me. I think maybe if I'm nice, I'll put him up a little higher than that, but overall, to be honest, he's not that good. So let's see if I can find him in the first place. Gosh dang it, these guys are all mixed up. So hard to find the one you want to get. Carthonassi, where are you? Probably glossed over him and missed him already. I didn't already put him on here, did I? Alright, any day now, I will find this character. Oh, it's driving me nuts. Is this picture not on here? There it is. Okay, I'm going to put him in D. He just frustrates the heck out of me. And he's on Old Republic. There are teams that can make him way better, but I don't think he really has those options on Old Republic as much. And for that, I think he's a D tier. Not a fan. Don't think he's... I think he has some things he wants to do that are really cool, but at the end of the day, he costs just way too much for what you're trying to do. Juggernaut War Droid. Man, I love these guys so much. These guys are going straight, maybe even to S tier. Ah, they're so good. They're so freaking good. Oh boy. Man, are these guys S tier? I think I'm gonna put them in S tier. But I also feel like if I do that in S tier, I feel like I might be overdoing it. Man, oh boy. Oh, well, here we go. So 16, great HP, so good stats, really nice stats, and then you just have some incredible powers. Like you can fly. Mobile attack's always a good thing to have. Shatter Beam, so you can just blow doors up for the sight. You have Sonic Stunner, so you can do you can activate enemies. You can be a good support and just activate enemies. Yeah, these guys are S tier. I got to do it. I've always been just a massive sucker for these guys, and I definitely try to collect a few of them. But like, oh my gosh, so much fun. It is a little rough that they're on Old Republic though, because they don't really have as much droid support. But you know, it could be fun to bring these guys into like Kazdan Paratus, you know, bring in some of the battle droid officers and people like that, make them really scary. But overall, I think this guy's an S tier character. Even without like droid support, every single one of his powers is awesome. Like absolutely like off the charts awesome. So I gotta give these droids an S tier personally. Master Lucian Dre, I'm gonna also put this guy in S tier, but he'll be top of yeah, I think that's fair. I'm not sure, but I think that's probably fair to put him right around here. I might drop him to A tier, depending on how I really want this to shake out. But so costs 48, awesome stats, has duelist, so even better with melee. This guy's pretty much one of the best melee characters you could possibly ask for. You have Force Renewal 1 and Force Renewal 1. It's a typo. You got block, deflect, and riposte, and master the Force 2. So all you got to do is charge up your force powers, and he's just going to be a total like nightmare when it comes to melee. Absolute nightmare. So love this character, lots of fun, and I think it's very, very deserving of an S tier ranking, and I think that sounds about right. Mira. So in my original video, I did her as S tier. Do I still feel that way? Or did I do her as A tier? I did her as A tier. Ooh. Mira's a tricky one because she costs so much, and her HP's a bit low. But yeah, this is the problem with Mira that I realized later on. We got a lot of good stuff going on, so she does cost a ton. This is like as much as think of like the expensive Han Solos. 80 HP, similar to Han Solos. 18 defense, which is nice. 12 attack's really high, so that's good. 20 damage is nice. So you do have accurate, very good. Bounty Hunter, so you're going to have extremely good attack with this character. Demolition Charge is kind of fun. Don't know if it's going to be all that necessary, but you got it. Mobile attack's nice, and you have Twin and Splash. So this character can move in and out and around walls, hit characters with extreme precision, and do splash damage. And then get out of the way. Really, really good. And then Force Powers, you kind of like Princess Leia's, you can do Force Sense a few times. That's also pretty good. So you could really break people's stealth and then just do a lot of damage. However, the big problem with her is she's still fragile, because yes, you have mobile attack, but you don't have like stealth, you don't have evade, you don't have anything like that to kind of put you over the edge and just have excellent survivability. So, gosh, I feel like I still want to put her in A tier. I want to put her in S tier, but I think for me the thing that prevents her is I'm a little scared about her. Mobile attack's great, but I'm a little scared about the maybe the flimsiness. Like for example, those Han Solos I mentioned that are around this rating. Sure, they can do some of the other stuff she can do, but at the same time they have other things they excel at, and they have evade typically, which is really, really nice. And for that reason, and then also the cost, I think she's A tier. So close to S tier, so close to S tier, but I'm gonna put Mira in A tier personally. Still a fantastic character, but I think balanced pretty well. You got some nice stuff, but you have to pay the price for it. So I think A tier is just fine. Old Republic Captain, I don't know. It's okay. It definitely makes the Old Republic guys a little bit better, with much better defense and giving squad assault and squad assault powers. I always thought that they should be a little bit less, but whatever. This guy, he's like a very typical 19 costing commander, has double attack himself. He's fine. The fact that he only helps, so he helps Old Republic followers, which is the cool part. That's actually kind of crazy. So Old Republic followers, I believe that's people of the Old Republic faction. They get, within 6 squares, they get +3 defense, and they gain squad assault. So this is kind of versatile. Like this can apply to more characters than you think, not just the soldiers, but maybe a few other characters, maybe like the Wookiees, that could be helpful. There really aren't too many other options though, so overall, I think the Old Republic Captain is very solid. I'll put it in maybe low B tier. However, just because the command effect's a little bit more wide-reaching than I remembered, but other than that, I think that's probably just fine. I think low B tier is good. I'll put Bowder. I still like Bowder more as a B tier, so I'll do that. Old Republic Guard. This thing's meh, nothing. It's just basically a rebel soldier. It doesn't even have that much opportunity to get upgraded. Just D tier. Yeah. Alright, and then Squint. Squint's a lot of fun. So for 20, you got pretty good stats for a melee character with 20, although defense is actually kind of low now that I remember. But you do have Duelist, so you're going to be a little bit better on the melee side of things. Stealth is good, so that's looking nice. Mandalorian Bounty Hunter is nice. And Mandalorian Hunter, and then Melee and Devil. So this character is kind of fun. Really nice against Mandalorians, of course. Can really smash them. Got some solid powers. Really, really good just kind of melee character with Duelist and Block. And then Force Thrust is kind of fun. For only costing 20, I think Squint is a fun character. Definitely solid B tier character in my opinion. But definitely excels, like has his weaknesses with bad defense. If you run out of block, you'll be in trouble. Mandalorian Hunter's cool, but it's kind of a bummer because it's only against Mandalorians, but will make you very strong against them. I think for that, I think definitely still probably a very solid B tier character. I'll put him just below Karth in my opinion. Not Karth. What am I talking about? Aton Rand. Alright, Squint, you go right there. Vices Mar, very fun character. 90, 19, and then 20, so very typical stats for a 30 costed melee Jedi. Double melee attack, you can do bodyguard, can do flurry attack, and then it's a trap, which is kind of fun. Force powers, you got 3 force, you have sense and block. Also pretty nice. I think in some ways it is funny how her model is exactly the same as the Sentinel. The Jedi Sentinel, I believe. Yes, I think it's the one. But she's just kind of like an anti-stealth character, really, with it's a trap and sense. So put her on the right teams, can be very helpful. But overall, a very solid character in my opinion. So I think I'm going to put her in... Alright, what do I want to do with this? I think she's just really solid. I think she might be a little bit better than Squint personally. Maybe not. No, she's better than Squint. I think I'm going to put Vices Mar just right up here. I'll think about bumping these guys up later. Okay, Wookiee Elite Warrior. I know where these ones have to go. These guys are so good. I'm going to have to stick these guys, I don't know. They're some of the best Wookiees in the entire game. A tier, maybe even S tier. They're so good. I'm gonna do high A tier right here. So powerful, honestly. So they have 19. Pretty good overall on this side of things. Maybe a little more HP could be nice, but melee reach 2, momentum, and charging assault is just brutal. Absolutely brutal combination. Plus, you can mix them easily with other characters to get even better things too, like Miru and such. Fantastic Wookiees. I'm tempted to do S tier, but we'll see. Man, I might just have to do S tier. It's going to be tough trying to figure out who's S and A tier because there's just so many really good characters. I might do low S tier. I like the Juggernaut War Droids just a hair more, personally, just for my own bias. So I'm going to leave him there, even though the Wookiee Elite Warrior is probably technically better. Alright, I'll have to go with what's better. Let's do this. But we'll see. I might have to rearrange this thing later because there might be too top heavy. Alright, Wookiee Trooper. These ones are a lot less exciting, but they're still solid. Very solid character. I'll put them in C tier personally. Kind Cost 11, don't have a lot of HP though, but it is nice to have Cleave, Reach 2, and Mighty Swing. So gotta give the credit where credit's due. Not bad, not good, just kind of, it's okay. Alright, Darth Malak, Dark Lord of the Sith. This is the upgrade of the original. All those Jedi, or I should say, all the Sith in Champions of the Force are pretty awesome, except he sucks. So it's a good thing they redid him and made him better for KOTOR. So we're looking at awesome stats here. Fantastic attack, great with melee stuff, with lightsaber duelist. Deadly attack's kind of fun to throw that in there too, even though you're not going to see it too often. Force powers, you have renewal this time. You have Force Lightning 2, which have always been it's always a fan favorite of mine. Stun's nice, of course, because doesn't take activations away. And then Sith Rage is also pretty good, of course. So really good character, like great Force powers, awesome abilities. You cost less than the last Darth Malak, plus your command effect's nice. Instead, it's just a flat followers get +4 attack. That's nice. That's really good. That's everybody, non-commanders, of course. Fantastic character. I think Darth Malak, Dark Lord of the Sith, for doing all of this, is either going to be top of S tier or S+. So I'm going to wait at the end. If I feel like I need to bump him up, I will. But for now, I'm just going to leave him top of S tier. So we'll see how this goes. But gosh, so good. Ugh, I might have to do S+, but we'll see. I probably will, but I'm just going to wait for a sec. Darth Sion. I don't like this guy very much. I made a point of this in my last video. I made some videos of duels, not too long ago, where he was going up against characters of similar cost and was typically getting taken down every single time. And there's some complicated issues this character has, so he costs like 70 basically. You have Lightsaber Duelist, which is good. Otherwise, you get racked up, just totally raked across the coals against ranged characters. Here's the problem with him. So, Eternal Hatred, you can use it twice, or you can use it more times, of course, if you get more Force points. But the chance of success is nice to 75. But if you just happen to get unlucky, which has happened in games I've seen, and you're just dead, well then you're done. But then you have these Force powers right here. Force Lightsaber Riposte is almost a terrible thing for him to have in some ways, because if you use Riposte, and then for some reason you happen to die on that character's same turn where you use Riposte, you can't use Eternal Hatred because you don't have Master of the Force 2. That happened to me on one game I did. It was the funniest thing ever, and he just died straight up, and he could not use Eternal Hatred, and I realized the error that had happened. So I get the point. It's kind of fun being able to just stay alive forever, and it can be annoying. If it does hit every single time, it is an annoying thing and a frustrating thing for enemies to deal with. So I'll admit he has a fun factor to him, but that's definitely a big challenge. In my original tier list, I put him in D tier. That is too low. I'll admit that is too low. So to rectify that, I still am not a big fan of how he works. So I'm going to move him up to C tier. So I think I saw him in action. Even with it working every single time, I'm still not incredibly impressed. But he's not terrible. It's just I'll put it this way: fun because of the cool powers and kind of the thematic nature of it. But when you're trying to have a squad really knock characters out, this isn't really the guy to do it in my opinion. So I'll do low C tier. Maybe I'll bump into B tier if I'm feeling nice. Blue Milk's more loving than I am, but I don't care. Elite Sith Trooper. So Elite Sith Troopers I think are very, very solid characters overall. Elite Sith Troopers, they just have, just good stats. They cost 13, nice stats, blank slate, and you can subject them to a lot of nice commander effects. Plus, I think they look amazing with the bronze armor scheme, so I'm going to stick these guys just in B tier, and that's just fine. Sith Assassin, I think I'll probably do something like this. Sith Assassin, really solid, underrated characters. Decent stats, but you do have stealth, and the fun part is you have cunning and paralysis. So if you get lucky, you can do a plus 12, 30 damage attack, and do a paralysis. It's only one though, and you cost 21, so part of me thinks these guys are a little bit too underpowered for what you're getting from them. But they're still fine. I don't know. I think the Elite Sith Assassin's better. It is a bit of a bummer that they cost as much as they do. Maybe if they costed 18 or a little bit less, I'd be more excited about them, but yikes. I think for that, I'm going to have to drop them down to I'm going to do top of D tier. Or, I think middle of D tier is fine. Let's do that. Not as good as I was originally remembering. I think it's the Elite Sith Assassin that has a lot more going for it. Sith Guard. Interesting characters, so they cost 5. Just kind of the grunts of the Sith army. But they have quick reactions, which is interesting. Not that you'll see it really occur, probably. But not bad. I mean, very similar stats. I think their stats are actually deflated a little bit for other 5s to make room for quick reactions. So because that's the case, there's still a nice grunt to have on your team, but I mean they're not special. So if that's what I was gonna say, I'll do them the bottom of C tier. Just a nice solid little grunt. Sith Heavy Soul Droid, very fun. So costs about 50, nice HP, solid stats all across the board, double and twin and shields too. So it's gonna be really frustrating to eventually take this guy out. And if this thing can dish out a lot of firepower, it might not have all the support you'd like it to have on Sith, but there are ways you can find to support it for sure and make it a lot of fun. But overall, I think the Sith Heavy Soul Droid is very, very good. Very, very frustrating and hard to deal with. So for that reason, oh my goodness. Is this thing A tier or is it... I'm going to do top of A tier. Yeah, I'm going to do the very top of A tier. I think I put this guy in A tier in my last video. What did I do? I put this in B tier. I'm dumb. Okay. No, this is definitely high A tier for sure. Mostly not going higher because it does cost a lot and you can eventually get through it. But like, man, it's gonna take a while to get through those shields, to be honest with you. So I might do S tier. We'll see. It's just kind of complicated with how dense it is up there with all these guys. I might just... I'll tell you what I might do. I think I'm just going to crack and just put this guy in S+. I think that's fair. Alright, I'll put this guy in A tier. Top of A tier is good, in my opinion. Sith Marauder. Very good character. It costs 22. Really cheap, honestly, to have these kind of stats. You got double. You can do some deflect, some sweep. I think the Sith Marauder is honestly really nice. A really nice character. Definitely an A tier character for sure. For being... for all what it brings to the table at the cost that it is. So absolutely an A tier character. I'm going to put it in, probably I'll just do low A tier, but definitely a very good character. Sith Operative, these guys are incredible. Sith Operatives, oh boy. I think they're incredible just because they have Cunning 20. If you mix them with the right commanders and such, yes, they have the same stats. They're basically Sith Guards with Cunning plus 20. But I have seen a lot of creative things occur where people have done some fun things with them. So the Cunning 20 can be nice. You can give him double attack with a variety of different characters. Give him just better stats and things. They do cost 10, which is a bit of a bummer, but Cunning 20 is a lot of fun. And they're not too bad to kind of upgrade from there. But I can't go overboard, even if I'd like to. So I'll do these guys probably in B tier, and I'll put them right there. Sith Trooper Captain, same kind of mold. It's a 20 costing character. This is very normal of a lot of commanders. Cost 20, have double, have these types of stats with low HP, and then Sith Trooper allies gain double attack. It's not too bad. I mean, the operatives can really benefit from it, and then the elites can benefit from it too, but that's kind of limited, whereas this guy right here, it's a much more widespread one. It can help a lot more people. So for that reason, I'm going to put him top of C tier. Not terrible, and giving double attack's always good, but a little bit of a miffed out because this one definitely is the Old Republic one is more useful. Captain Pananka, this is another good one. So he is the switching character for the Republic, and you can use Masamata. So you only cost 23, decent shooting, got Opportunist, I guess Bodyguard if you ever want to do it, but don't do it so he doesn't die. But it's there for versatility's sake, and also for flavor. Commander effect is at the end of this character's turn, 2 medium allies, so just medium, can switch positions. You know, we all know that's such a really nice and powerful, useful power. Although Thrawn is still the king because Thrawn gives Opportunist, and even if you're using the other Thrawn, you also give attack and defense too. So not much to be said there. But Captain Pananka is absolutely an S tier character. In my opinion, not S+, but an S tier character from this set. Captain Tarpals, another super fun one. Pretty much his whole purpose in life is the commander effect. Each follower can use 2 abilities that replace attacks instead of 1 on its turn. So I've seen some really fun creative things where having like cheap grenadiers can be fun. Mix this character with with the pilots and with Oddball, and then you have these clone pilots running around with Evade, throwing grenades 20 twice everywhere, and then making them EMP grenades. So that's not even like the half the story. You can do all like even more wacky stuff with him. I think Captain Tarpals is so much fun, but I don't want to overdo it. It's just pretty much you're gonna see this with Republic ones, and it's gonna be like I said, grenades and rockets powers. So definitely an A tier character in my opinion. Question is where? I'll put him right there. That's a good spot for him. Gungan Artillerist. These Gungans are much better than the other Gungans from Clone Strike. So this one, a Cesta 20, just really good overall. It's a sight power, 20 damage, save of 11. Non-living characters are considered activated. And so yeah, I mean, not much better than that. It's just sight, 50-50 chance of hitting, and then a 50-50 chance if they're non-living of activating. So can't really go too wrong right there. The Artillerist is a very solid character. So see, Tarpals, I'm actually going to bump Tarpals up to maybe high A tier. I'm thinking of S tier, but I'm going to do high A tier just because that commander effect can be pretty insane. But it is, I'd have to look at all the different options it applies to, but we'll see. It's kind of tricky right here. Kind of a jumbled up mess. But the Artillerist is definitely an A tier character, so I will find the Cesta, my bad. It's the Artillerist with Cesta 20. Yep, go up to A tier. I'll go like that. Gungan Shield Bearer. So, I know technically the energy shield does do the deflecting, but when this character came out, I was really frustrated because I had the X1 Viper droids, my pride and joy, and the fact that a character kind of came out and pretty much stole the thunder and kind of made it not as special anymore really frustrated me. But that being said, you gotta admit that the Gungan Shield Bearer is really helpful. Very nice deterrent. People don't want to do all that much damage to this guy, so for that I'm gonna stick him up in high A tier. Yeah. Maybe even like low S tier. I don't know. I've always thought the Gungan Shield Bearer, and they're tough to collect too. They can be kind of expensive, and the whole like shield bearing thing can be a really frustrating deterrent for enemies to go through. So I'll put it there. But personally, I've always disliked them, like I said, because of that my personal feelings about the X1 Viper droid. But I have to admit, like these guys' ability to basically do the X1 Viper droid's power is pretty dang good. So I'll put it there. All right, Gungan Soldier, really cheap. They cost 9. They have Addle, which is basically just Cesta, but range 6. And then it just costs 10. They only 10 HP, so they could die pretty easily. So I think the problem with these guys is they really don't have like a use for them. You might as well just use the Artillerists. Because, I mean, the Artillerist only costs 11, and it's rangeless and has more survivability. For that reason, I'm going to have to penalize these guys pretty bad. They're still fine. At 9, they do 20 damage and can do activating stuff, so I'm going to have to do them low C tier. But for 2 points more, you can use the Artillerist, so just do that. Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks is kind of funky. Jar Jar Binks here basically is just a walking around, making people fire him and then having people fire. So he's just kind of a mess. Send him into the enemy, and the enemy's just going to be annoying for the enemy to deal with because you'll draw the fire away from allies, and then once you do get hit, then you can redirect the fire back to the enemies with a lot of saves. You only cost 18, and you're not going to do much else but that. So, kind of a funky character, but is probably like the ultimate draw fire character, to be fair, like in the entire game by far. So, for that reason, I mean, Blue Milk's pretty high, and Blue Milk gave him a really high rating. I don't know if I want to go quite that far with Jar Jar Binks, but I think Jar Jar is definitely an A tier character for sure. So I put Jar Jar in my original tier list. I don't know where I put him. I think it's kind of low. Yeah, it was B tier. I think Jar Jar is an A tier character. So I'll do Jar Jar just right here. I think that looks good. Obi-Wan Kenobi Padawan. So costs 22. Fine stats, Ataru style, flurry attack, lightsaber assault. So this character is extremely offensive focused. Although I found when I used him, even with how cheap he is, he seems to die kind of fast. So I'm not a big fan of, Vet 17 defense is really, really brittle. He's going to get clobbered quick. But can be a really fun just offensive weapon. in certain circumstances. So for that case, I'll do top of C tier. I think that sounds just fine. Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, a very fun character. Keep him in the back. You have Betrayal, so always nice. And then Reserves from Fringe and from Republic. And Rapport, of course, for the clones. Nice Force powers to stay alive. You can use Force Alter for days. And then your Commander effect is always great to stay alive. So, my opinion, I think Supreme Chancellor Palpatine is a very absolute A tier character. I mean, you can't necessarily count on the reserves popping off every time, so keep that in mind. But at least you have options, and it can be a lot of fun. And the Force Alter is really for defense. You're not going to be out in the field helping your allies out. You're going to be back, just kind of hoping you can get some good rolls. But still, like an A tier character, I'm going to put them right around here for A tier. Okay, Han Solo Smuggler. A really complicated one because on the one hand, it's kind of bare bones, costs 27, only 70 HP instead of 80 like some of the other ones, but not bad. No defensive mechanisms, no mobile attack, no evade, although since he's on Rebels, you can fix that in a jiffy. But you do have accurate, and then you have Opportunist 20, and Opportunist 20 is so good to bump him to 14 attack and 40 damage per shot. That's pretty strong. So I think for that being the case, I think Han Solo Smuggler, a very, very solid character. I think, do I want to do B tier? It is really good, but I still, just on his own, he's missing those powers. So I'll keep that in mind. I'm going to do high B tier. I think that sounds just fine. Yeah, right there is good in my opinion. Okay, Leia Organa Senator, kind of a tricky one to rank in my opinion because of kind of what you're doing, but you are cheap, dirt cheap. Great stats for being dirt cheap, and you can just be a nuisance, an absolute nuisance, and be really annoying to the enemy. For that reason, I'm going to do low A tier. Luke Skywalker Jedi. So this very, very similar sculpt to Jedi Knight from Rebel Storm, but basically I think of this as like the updated Rebel Storm Jedi Knight. Pretty much the same, stats across the board. They're very nice, but you have Gemso, always a really good melee counter-attacking power. And then you have Flurry Attack, which can be really cool, just kind of cherry on top. Force powers, you got Renewal this time, you got Block and Deflect, so that's really good. And then you have Night Speed, so just very solid all-around powers. Good defensive ones. Very, very just nice, hard to deal with Jedi all around. So I think Luke Skywalker Jedi is absolutely worthy of, I think he's an A tier character. I mean, really good character. I think I'm going to do, I'll do kind of more on the low end of A tier. Just like, this guy's just so cheap for what he brings. So I got to keep him up higher. But A tier, absolutely all the way. Very nice, in my opinion. And that's the same thing as before. Darth Vader, Scourge of the Jedi. Oh, man, in my original tier list video, I put this guy at A tier. But, like, every single time I do a video of Darth Vader, Scourge of the Jedi, that's like some sort of melee bit one, he can't lose. He just murders everybody. Absolutely, just completely and utterly obliterates their faces. It is insane. And I didn't expect it. So my Darth Vader tournament, if you haven't seen it yet, I thought he'd be good, but I didn't think he'd be that great. He destroyed everybody. Like, he just absolutely just dog-walked all the characters, all the Darth Vaders, and there was no shot. And then I did a video, I don't know if I've actually released it yet, with him against, who was it? Darth Maul, Champion of the Force or whatever, and Champion of the Sith, and he destroyed Darth Maul, Champion of the Sith too. Like, no chance. And this is why. So you might think, oh, well, he costs 55, and these stats are a little lower than other Darth Vaders, but you still have Dark Armor, you can do double, you have Jedi Hunter, so against other Jedi, you're going to be fine. And then you have Gemso style. So keep that in mind. And you have Riposte and Saber Throw too. So if someone attacks you, you can use Riposte and Gemso style. And then you can keep doing that. So like you attack them, do say 60 damage. They attack you back. And every time they attack you back, it's a huge risk. They're just going to get obliterated. Yes, against, non-Jedi or ranged characters, all this kind of crumbles. But I am going to, for what I've experienced and done, I'm going to put this guy in S+, just because of how absurd he can be against melee characters. Just absolutely absurd against melee characters. But obviously he's got a big weakness to the ranged characters. But just from my experience in the Vader tournament, I got to do S+, because I was floored by how well he performed. Next is the Death Star Proko Droid. This thing is fine, you know, it's just a walking into trap. You'll probably die before you get to use it. So it's a cool collector's piece, though. I like the sculpt. Very, very fun. I'll just throw him down kind of in C tier somewhere. It's whatever. General Wedge Antilles. So this one is kind of like the weaker knockoff of General Riken. You have, it costs 23. Again, you have all the usual not dying survivability powers. You have Avoid Defeat, Evade, but you got Mobile and Accurate, so he's not going to do much for you in terms of offense, but, he'll be a nuisance. And then the commander effect's great. Just give your followers Evade and Mobile Attack in New Republic. I'm more forgiving of him just because he's a little more expensive than Riken, and the commander effect's more limited rather than allies. Still an absurdly strong commander effect, though. So for that, I need to put him in S+. Just because it's just ridiculous. Like, anytime you give just, like, blanket people Evade and Mobile Attack, that's pretty insane. So I'm gonna have to go with that. And Blue Milk agrees with me, too. Blue Milk's, like, absolutely, this guy's, like, a 9.0, one of the best. So I might have to stick him probably just above this. What the heck. Alright, ASN Assassin Droid. Fun character. Just kind of similar in some ways to Zam from Clone Strike, although much cheaper. So this character has a good defense, not too much HP. You can fly, which is always good. Cahoon Infestation is always fun. And Program Target. So Program Target's a lot of fun because if you don't want to use Cahoon Infestation, you can be a little bit more effective against certain characters. However, Cahoon Infestation is still replaces turn power. So it's good, but you gotta set it up and gotta kind of hope that it all works out. So for that reason, I'm gonna put this guy in B tier, and I think that's just fair. Let's see here, B tier. I think I'll just throw it in the middle somewhere. Boma, pretty decent charging character. Can be really good with X-Archon, of course. Costs 22, tons of HP. And then kind of like almost think of it as like a cheaper Reek, if you want to think of it that way. It's not a bad idea to think of it that way. So, Boma, very solid. I think this is like low B tier, probably. The bad defense means you can chew through these things pretty dang quick, but they are cheap, so that is good. Zerka Scientists. So, Zerka Scientists are famous for bringing so much to the game. I'm going to do low S tier, and this is why. Cost 13, but Blaster Rifle upgrade and Blaster upgrade are so nice. So you give all allies, all your ranged allies that do 10 damage, well, now they have twin attack. That's awesome. And then all the characters who have 20 attack, now they have jolt. And so basically every time they get hit, they can get considered activated. Very underrated. I think the Zerka Scientist, probably one of the best support characters in the entire game, just flat out. So just keep those in mind, and you can have a lot of fun with them. Achani Handmaiden, another really good character. Overall, Achani Handmaidens are solid because they remind me a lot of Dash Rendar Renegade Smuggler, where you cost in the 20s. Kind of, the thing you have to be worried about with them is they do have kind of iffy stats, but Evade is good, and then they can do double, greater mobile, twin. So a lot of firepower, a lot of options with your firepower, and their survivability is helped with Evade, but a little scary here. So definitely I'd say definitely a well-balanced character overall. So in my opinion, definitely worthy of A tier, but lots of fun. One of the really nice, very, very nice, gosh, I don't even know where to put them. A nice fringe character that you can have a lot of fun with. Let's see here, the Gino Haradan Assassin. Famously, I always thought this guy had melee attack for some reason, but they don't. Very nice character, costs 21, solid stats, really high defense, plus you've cloaked. So if you're in cover, no one's touching you until they get next to you. Cunning 10 is nice, Loner's nice, so very quickly this character can have really high attack. And then Poison Blade can be really fun too. So against living characters, this guy can be a menace, and even just from range, you can still be a very frustrating thing to deal with because of cloaked. So for that, and the Gino Haradan Assassins, really good characters. Oh my gosh, having cloaked is just so powerful. I'm going to also throw these guys in S tier. How high of S tier should I go? I'll put them right here. That looks just fine. Man, I feel like I want to put these two in S tier as well, but it's getting so cramped. We'll see. Jariel. So Jariel, in my opinion, is gonna go straight up to S plus. Jariel is in frickin' insane character. I'm gonna put Jariel actually at the very top. So Jariel, maybe I'll do this. Jariel, what we have going on here is only costs 23, is a melee character, but has a lot of things going for her. So she's fast, super quick, can get places real quick, has force powers to reroll things, which is important. The only character in the game with evade and parry, so pretty much anytime you attack her, it's going to be really hard to get through, and then the force powers are going to make it hard to get through too. But then you have shock staff, so she already has really high attack anyways, so definitely will land the hits and has triple attack. So you can just be this insane support character, run up, activate enemy characters really quickly, and then they're going to have a hard time dealing with you. Just like an absolutely just incredible support character. And she's fringe, so can go on any team, can get magnified in so many ways. So I'll definitely put her top of S+. Jawa Scouts, pretty good. Stealth, good stats. Spotter 20, Ion Gun 20. This thing can do an insane amount of damage against non-living enemies if they get too close. But that is kind of limited, so I don't want to go too overboard with it, but definitely a B tier character. I'll put him kind of right down here. Jolie Bindo, another famous one, very good, very cheap, 23, good stats, hard to kill with Avoid Defeat, although, you know, Avoid Defeat still takes a little bit to get to work. And then really nice support stuff. You got Stun, which is good, Valor, which is a decent commander effect for sure, and then Deflect. So if you can get this character a little bit more force points, especially to help with Avoid Defeat, but again, you only cost 23, that's not that much. A really good character. I think I'm going to put Jolie Bindo just like bottom of S tier. Maybe not. I think actually A tier is more appropriate for him. Top of A tier, because like you don't cost too much. You still have kind of low attack. Avoid Defeat doesn't always work out because it's like you have to get 2 successful saves, and it's only 10 HP. I don't know. I think, where did I put Jolie Bindo in my last one? Yeah, I think I put Jolie Bindo in A tier, and I'm fine with that. No, I put him in B tier. Yeah, okay, A tier's fine. Top of A tier is fine. I'm still going to put Tarp. Nah, it's fine. Joanie is even better, I think, because Joanie also has stealth, has duelist, so even better. Better in the melee situations. Vicious attack, which can be kind of fun to see that go on. Duelist, deadly attack. Yeah, get her to do critical hits, and you're going to be a very happy person. Double. Force powers are great, so Force Cloaked, Block, and Rage. Get her some more force points, and I think she's going to be a total menace. Like, incredibly powerful character, in my opinion. So, Juani, I know Blue Milk likes him more. I've always thought she was a little bit better, personally, but, I mean, they both have different things they bring to the table that are good. Although, I think I might bump her up. For only costing 25 and having all of that, I'm going to bump her up to S tier. Kreia. Alright, so how do I do Kreia here? So Kreia is a really powerful, one of the most rare characters in the whole game. So 43, you got 100 HP, 20 defense, 11 attack, and then 20 damage. So actually kind of bad stats for a 43, to be honest with you. But you got triple, which is good. It's a trap is fun, and flurry is nice, it's kind of fun to throw in there too. Betrayal is really freaky, but then you have 2 awesome force powers. So definitely get her some more force. You can give her cloaked. That'll make her a lot harder to deal with, which is going to up that survivability a lot. And then you have Drain Life 3. So Drain Life 3, really nice character to help her kind of regenerate as well. But it's expensive, so you need, like I said, you need some more force points to make all this really effective. So in my original video, I put her in S tier. I think she's still definitely S tier, but I don't think she's S+. I think I did that just because of how rare and expensive she is, and she is expensive and rare. She is really freaking good, but I think she's balanced well because she has really low, her stats are very low for a 43 melee character, and you need help to make the force points even higher, so I think that balances her out well. But Betrayal's Betrayal, so, you know, watch out, that's a good power anyways. So I think for me, Kreia's, I'm going to put her down in B tier, not B tier, S tier, what am I talking about? Let's see here. I'm gonna have to rearrange these S tier characters because I don't know if I really feel this way. Master Lucian Drake, like, he is really good. He is a truck to deal with, that's for sure. I'll put Kreia. Maybe up like right here. Yeah, I just think these two at their level, how much they cost, are just so freaking good. Sure, let's do something like that. Massive, that's okay. You know, costs 10. It somehow doesn't have Savage, but it can do vicious attacks, so that's cool. So, whatever. I mean, I've never thought the Mastiffs were all that interesting, but they're fine. So I'll just stick these guys over here, maybe like low B tier or something like that. For costing 10, you know, they're definitely not bad at all. So I'll throw them like right there. Mission Vow, kind of a fun stealth assassin. You got Cunning 20 plus stealth and door gimmick. So if you get on top of someone at the right time, you can do tons of damage to them and will be really strong. But if you don't, then it's okay. You'll probably die. That's about it. But she costs 27, so kind of high risk, high reward character. Definitely solid one. I think she's worthy of a low A tier. What do I think? Man, it's tough. I think I prefer Mission Vow to some of these other ones down here. Yeah, I think Mission Vow is probably an A tier character. Really good. Maybe B tier. I don't know. I like that this guy's got the range though going on. I'll do that. Okay, I'll do high B tier. That sounds good to me. All right, I don't know how to pronounce these, but the Rakul, really fun characters. Really hard to collect because they're from Old Republic, and they're so funky in how they work. So they don't have great stats, but they have ambush, triple attack, Rakul disease. So against living enemies, they can devastate living enemies. And then they can basically kill the enemy and turn them into another Rakul. So if you have these guys, definitely try to collect as many as possible so that you can have fun with that. But where do I feel like these guys should go? They're just so fun, man. But they have their limitations. Like you can kill them, you can knock them down if you're diligent enough. But man, they're just kind of interesting and fun characters to deal with. So I think I'm gonna put them low A tier just because I think they can be pretty gnarly and frustrating to deal with. But yeah, I put them in A tier before. I think that sounds just fine. But like I said, they do take up some cost, and you can knock them out decently quick if you're good enough, especially from a range perspective. But definitely solid in my opinion. Definitely an A tier character. All right, Chirac. Interesting. It's nice that they have Swarm 4 to make up for their cost, like the size of their base. However, I still feel like it doesn't quite do enough to fix it for me. So for that, I think Chirac is kind of meh. So I'm going to do C tier. Not bad, but definitely more of a C tier character in my opinion. So I'll stick him down here. T1 series bulk loader droid. These guys are hilarious. So with General Grievous, Droid Army Commander, they are the ultimate. Like they're incredible. They're absolutely devastatingly powerful. So they only cost 21. They have a ton of HP, tons of damage, and they have a few things. They got melee, heavy lift, so that's kind of fun. Heavy weapon and melee reach 2. So they don't have to go next to the enemy. They just need to go there, wait a turn, and then if you put up with the droid, the separatists, of course, they can just absolutely just pound the enemy because they have enough HP to get there and not die. And then the defense isn't horrible, but just low. But then they can get there, and then they can do an absurd amount of damage, especially with the help that you're going to give them. So for that, I always thought these guys were kind of a low S tier character. I think you cost this much, and you bring this to the table, plus it's so easy for you to get upgraded to do just a little bit more. Like, what are we talking about here? So being a droid lover, separatist lover, I got to put these guys low S tier. All right, T3M4, another really good character. The only thing that I don't love about him is he costs quite a bit. So basically, compared to just using like an astromech droid that does 8, that costs 8, costs 17, but you got a little bit more beefiness going on here. You can shoot, you can use flamethrower, and then you have override, of course. So this guy's nice that he has a little bit of like automatic damage going on. It can help in that regard, but he's still awesome. Has override, so it's kind of. Pick your poison. If you want to spend a few extra points to throw him in, go ahead. But he's still an override character, and because of that, I need to put him in S tier. Tusken Raider Scout. These things are pretty sweet. We have evade and stealth. So they only cost 11, and they're a little bit difficult to deal with. So put them with the right squads. They can be very decent melee character, but just kind of on their own, I think B tier, just kind of low B tier sounds good. Very solid, very, very solid. Zalbar, in my opinion, I think Zalbar is pretty underwhelming. I'm going to put Zalbar in C tier. Not bad character at all, but just underwhelming. And here's why. You cost 30, and you have 100 HP, which is nice, but your attack's pretty lousy and doesn't get better unless you're adjacent. So you're really good in adjacent situations, but I still think you're going to kind of get zapped of your strength pretty quick, and I even have seen that in some battles too. So not bad. Definitely not a bad character, but underwhelming in my opinion. I would have liked the Zalbar to have a little bit more meat on him. Zane Carrick. Here's a character that I think is a, who has Kurtosis Gauntlet. I don't remember what era exactly. I think he's a Legacy of the Force era character, I think, but I'm not sure. Really fun. So 24 cost, and then you have some interesting things going on. You got Kurtosis Gauntlet. So the cool thing is you have Kurtosis Gauntlet and Renewal and Block. So you have a lot of opportunities to make it trigger. Jedi Mind Trick's always a good one. And then you have Karmic Luck and Karmic Metal. Basically just wacky things where it's like, depending on the initiative, your character's either going to be really effective or not effective at all. And then also, like, if you spend points to re-roll, and actually Karmic Metal is kind of just, a worse metal, basically, so keep that in mind. But kind of a fun character, kind of wacky, got a lot of interesting, fun things going for him. It's definitely a B tier, but I'll put him just maybe a hair ahead of Squint. I really like having Kurtosis Gauntlet with Block. That's kind of fun. Mandalore the Ultimate. So Mandalore the Ultimate is a really good character. I am going to put him in S tier, but I'm going to do a lower S tier-ish, maybe right here, maybe middle S tier. The problem with Mandalore the Ultimate, in my opinion, maybe even that's too high. I'm actually going to do top of A tier. Yeah, I think top of A tier is fine. This is my issue with Mandalore the Ultimate. He costs an insane amount. He costs 75, and he's good, don't get me wrong. I mean, great attack, good HP, high damage, you can run fast, shoot people with twin attack and 30 damage. So, like, don't get me wrong here, none of that's bad at all. And then Mandalorian characters gain charging fire, that's also really good. I just think he costs so much money for what you're doing, and there are other characters on his own team that are even maybe a little bit better. Well, not too many, really. It's just Boba Fett. Fantastic character. I'm trying to think, should I put him in S tier? I think I probably should put him in S tier. Probably owe it to him, but man, I don't know. I'll do low S tier. I'll do low S tier. Like, he is a truck to deal with. Very powerful character. Just got to use him right. But I'll do that. Mandalorian Captain. So Mandalorian Captain's probably one of the most important characters for the Mandalorians. And it's pretty self-explanatory. This guy's also S tier. Because I'm going to put him even higher. Like right there. You give Mandalorian followers within 6 squares twin. That's insane. And so there's all sorts of Mandalorians that can benefit heavily from twin attack, and it's just a very easy give. And besides that, he's a really good character in his own right. Has twin and grenades 20, but giving that twin attack to Mandalorians, fantastic. So gotta do it up there. Mandalorian Commando, just kind of like a very solid trooper. If you think about this, these are incredible stats on a 13. The Mandalorians are kind of scaled weird because I feel like they're typically, if you put them on any other team, they would cost more than they do. So this costs 13. But if we looked back a while later, we saw the elite Sith Trooper, has worse stats, has 40 HP. I think costs 14, but this guy has stealth. So this guy's objectively, you could even argue, better. However, because it's on Mandalorian, I think they just get a pass sometimes. So definitely for 13 points, this thing's great. So I'm going to put him up high. I think it's a very solid, good character. So Mandalorian Commando, maybe even like low A tier, but I'm going to do up here like pretty high. High B tier. Very good, cheaper character. Mandalorian Marauder, so, famous for having this fun typo. So only 8 defense, too bad. Just kidding. So 18 defense, that's pretty high. Cost 15, you have parry and stealth. So this character could benefit, from having charging assault from Mandalore the Ultimate, and then maybe getting momentum. But You know, kind of nice to have parry in 15, but overall, not a character I'm all that excited about. I don't really care about the melee Mandalorians very much in general, with some exception, but this guy's going to go down here, in my opinion, just kind of in C tier. I think it's, when it comes to Mandalorians, it's fine. It's whatever. Mandalorian Quartermaster. So the Mandalorian Quartermaster is another popular one because, so this guy does have melee, but you have parry, you can twin, and gregarious, so you can really dish damage as a melee character. And then your Mandalorian commander effect's good too. So Mandalorian followers get more attack. That's never a bad thing. Give your Mandalorians more accuracy. They're going to love you. And for that reason, I think this guy, he's not my favorite of the Mandalorian commanders. Definitely not, but I think definitely like high A tier in my opinion is probably the right spot. That looks good. Okay, Mandalorian Scout. This guy's S+. God, no other place to put him. Just going to throw him down S+. Mandalorian Scout, so strong. Only costs 19. You're cloaked. You got Opportunist. You got greater mobile attack, double attack. I mean, holy crap. Like, this guy's probably the best character pound for pound on Mandalorians. It's just, it's bananas how powerful he can be. So, yeah, take good care of him. Give him some fun Mandalorian commander effects, and you'll be having a great time. I have nothing else to say. I'm just going to throw this guy up here into S tier. He's so strong. So strong. So, okay, so how do I feel about this? Man, this guy, there are so many S tier characters in this set. It is absolutely just mind-blowing. I think I'm okay throwing these guys into S tier and stopping right there. I'm okay to stop there. I think Mira's still high A tier. Yeah, it's so interesting. Man, it's so tricky to figure out who actually is A tier and B tier. I'm gonna move him up to A tier. No, I don't feel good about that. Okay, we're good here. So S pluses, Jariel, Wedge Antilles, Darth Vader, Marauder, Mandalorian Scout, and then we got the new Darth Malak. And then tons of S tiers, holy crap. And then A tiers really solid too. And then some B tiers and C tiers, of course. So definitely, in my opinion, there's a reason this is one of the most expensive sets. It was KOTOR. It was the last 60-person set. And then also it has incredible characters. So many incredible, like objectively incredible characters in the game that are so good. And I mean, balanced pretty well, but still incredibly strong, which I think is fair. Some characters not balanced maybe too well. I think this guy's pretty wild, but a great set. Definitely one of the highlights, and definitely no F tier characters absolutely in this set. And even these D tier characters, not that bad, but pretty underwhelming compared to the entire set at large. So, all right, I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you for watching. This has been a long video. I think I hit an hour just about. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, please subscribe, and definitely comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts about Knights of the Old Republic. And until next time, have a good one.